What's up? Welcome to Pick6 Central. Myself, Big Ev. What is it, field day?
It's field day.
Field day today. So we held back, get the show on the road. Dukes behind the glass. Let's go to a wildly entertaining game one, a surprising entertainingly game one. Celtics hold off the Pacers. Pacers with some costly turnover. They look like us.
Oh, my God.
They look like us.
Trying to inbound the ball. That was one of those games where when you're the Pacers in the series, when you're like a plus 750 dog and you have them dead to rights, it's just a game you just can't lose if you want any chance of making this a competitive series.
Yeah.
You go steal a game one like that, maybe you can make it something, which no one really thought coming into it. Like, maybe you can. And I'm not even saying like they would go if they win game one last night, it goes to 7 or like the Pacers win. I'm just saying if the Pacers wanted to like really make it something, because now it feels like how do you have a game like that where you play your ass off on the road and then you still lose in overtime? Like now, listen, the Pacers have been on a hell of a run. They haven't lost at home yet in the playoffs, or obviously the series they haven't went home yet. So who knows? Even if they go down 2-0 in Boston, they go back there, but when it comes, maybe they can make it a series. But just to lose in that fashion when you're just clearly the inferior team, and the Celtics played like shit. They really played like shit in the fourth quarter, especially. Tatum was awful in the fourth quarter, and he was having a very good game until he just, I don't know what he does. He just has these weird.
No, you're right. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like one of those things with Tatum in the fourth quarter. I know that there's like stats out there that there's nobody more clutch with like 2.5 minutes to go, but really I don't give a fuck about the regular season. When you're talking about games in the fourth quarter, for me personally, when Tatum you need him to get going in like a crucial moment, it always feels like he just doesn't show up.
It's just his shot selection is very weird.
That shot selection on the
fadeaway.
The fadeaway was one of the dumbest shots I've ever seen.
Even there was one of those, he kind of just like forced one from the top of the key, like early in the shot clock in the last few minutes. And I'm like, why? Like, listen, you're the star, like you have a green light. But when you have a team as well rounded as his, like why are you just chucking obviously it's a shot he can make, but just chucking a three like early, like a contested three early in the shot clock just doesn't make sense in the spot they were in.
Yeah. I can't believe he missed that wide open 3-pointer.
That too. I mean,
that would have.
Yeah.
But Jaylen Brown, that was a big boy shot. Big boy shot.
It was also it goes without saying, it was a difficult shot too. The way
contested.
He was fucking.
That wasn't lucky. That was talent.
Yeah.
He got
good play. I've seen that they did something. They obviously had ran that play once before, the screener. Reeve-loop.
Yeah.
It was a nice play.
It almost was like he was waiting to get fouled, and Siakam was like caught in the middle, like he didn't know if he should foul because he thought he was going to foul a three, and then he didn't shoot it right away, and then he just was able to set his feet. And even though Siakam contested it, he just made an unbelievable shot.
Just made the shot. Yeah, sometimes there's literally nothing you can do. What stood out to you in terms of I do think the Pacers style, like we saw it with the Knicks, they just get up, they just go, and they get easy baskets. What stood out to you in terms of why they made it a game last night?
I think they're just you can just tell they're just a team that just is in rhythm right now.
Right.
Like they're just very in sync. Like McConnell played great he played very well last night. And Halliburton played really well. Made a bunch of threes, which he didn't do I feel like he shot the three like better in the playoffs than he has probably like all year. Siakam, I feel like I've never seen this guy miss a mid-range.
He doesn't miss a mid-range, no.
It just feels like he doesn't miss.
I think the biggest thing for me was, when regrouping, it's like, okay, the Pacers did just play, like, a hot shooting game, like, what, Sunday? Like, Celtics have had some rest. The more that it went on, the more I was like, they need to win now. Because the longer the series goes on, that's when you'll see, like, the Celtics' rest will be able to come into play. Be like, oh, like, they're well-rested. They'll be able to, like, kick the shit out of them in, like, Game 4. Since they didn't win last night, I think the Celtics are sweeping.
Really?
It felt like that because it was like Celtics didn't play well at all, didn't deserve to win at all. The only 2 losses in the playoffs the Celtics have been blowouts. It felt like a stolen win. Like you even heard Jaylen Brown in the postgame being like, would you why aren't you happy? He's like, would you be happy? Like we just sucked. Like we need to get back in this series. He said we need to get back in this series. They won last night, and he was like I don't know the mentality. It feels like a sweep. Like just like a back-breaking loss for the Pacers.
No, I agree. It was a demoralizing loss. It was a loss that felt like kind of what I was hinting at is if the Pacers win the game last night, it felt like you could have saw it. Maybe
6.
There's a way it goes 6. Like maybe they're able to steal like one they shouldn't. Maybe it does go 7. Maybe they force that. But now I think like 5. I think the Pacers will get one at home. But I agree. Like now it almost feels like it was a loss that counted as like 2.
It felt like it was this Pacers best. I don't know. I know the Pacers could shoot better, but like they really for most part of the game they were shooting lights out.
Yeah.
Also,
they're a good team.
I didn't say.
I give them credit. They're a good team.
They're a good offensive team. Like that. The thing is like if the Celtics, this will be the series. If the Celtics will play that style for 7 games or whatever, however many games there were, yeah, the Pacers could steal 1 or 2 just based off shooting and tempo alone. But I think the Celtics will regroup. Will bark it down on defense. They'll be hotter from 3-point range, and you'll see like next game they win by 25, and we're like, oh, all right, like the team that's been good for 90+ games is still really, really good.
Right.
Also, I forget who said it yesterday that shout out Miles Turner. I mean, he played really well last night.
Yeah, really well.
Yeah, I forget who said that yesterday.
None of those guys can.
Good matchup for that.
None of those guys can set screens though. They're still getting fucking moving screens left and right.
They just, I don't know. They just look so in sync right now. I'm very curious to see how they.
Carlisle's a good coach
He's
too.
a really good coach, and just see how they rebound. Because obviously everyone's gonna when game 2. What's game 2? Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So everyone, I mean, the talk with the Celtics has been, they just always flop game 2. Now this is one where they steal it, but they played bad. Like Duke just said, Jaylen Brown's not happy with it. I'm sure most of you guys in that locker room aren't happy with it. Now, do they flop again in game 2, like they have, I guess, historically, if you will? Or do they show up because they just got that little wake-up call they needed?
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time. I mean, you get that back-breaking loss, you're laying on the mat. What do?
The pace, I don't know, they just, like you said, I think when they play their style, which they were able to play last night, they can play well, and they can win. It's just more... that's just such a tough loss to come back from and make it a series.
It's very tough, but I do think there's something there with that style. Like the total is again like 224 for tomorrow night. You know, also, they want to play. They're going to get easy baskets. They're going to shoot. Like, are they going to shoot as well as they did in this game and then in the game against the Knicks? Probably not. But there's something there with this team.
What is with the Pacers too?
Like it's very much. You know what it's reminding me of a lot. It's like a March Madness run.
No, they do have some of that rhythm too, and I think with going off the rest, maybe I should take into consideration more when I was thinking coming off the game 7 win on the road, got to go straight to Boston with a rested team that's more talented. But I mean the rhythm they're deep as fuck. Like they play 9 guys. Like they're not like us. Even the Knicks are kind of like the extraordinary circumstance, but you don't see a lot of playoff teams go legitimately 9-10 deep like they do.
No.
And that's got to be a big part of how they're able to just get up and down, run. Because even the Celtics are obviously a very good defensive team. They were able to get some easy baskets on them too.
Yeah. I wanted to look at so it's still 8.5.
Yeah, I saw 8.5. 9,
yeah, I do think there's a little bit of to Dukes' point, the come down. The come down might be game 2. Now, I know the Celtics are primed for the taking in they've dropped game 2s, but to your point, they win the Garden. There's 2 ways of looking at it. They win in the Garden in game 7, and and they shot the lights out. The one side of thinking is, well, they're going to obviously come back down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody can shoot like that. They just won at the Garden, the emotions, traveling to Boston, living out of a suitcase, it's all going to hit them game 1. The other side of that was that you're on this high. It takes a little while for them to come down. They were riding so high. That's why they gave the great effort and won. Now I think they might. The air is a little bit out of the balloon. You know what I mean?
I can see
game 2.
where it becomes.
They went the second way. They were just riding. They were just up. They were just literally on uppers the whole way through. They win that game. They're riding all the way through, and they play great in game 1. Now I think that you could see the air come out of the balloon. It would not surprise me if the Celtics win by like Duke said 25-30.
Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely.
They're due for a bad shooting night. Maybe they finally figure out a way to slow down the Pacers' pace.
Also, one thing I want to ask Dukes what he thinks about this.
I was impressed
with
with
him. There was some. I just feel like Missoula sometimes makes some weird he like some weird timeouts. Like he just called like the one big one that was like they were going in the big run they had taken. I think it was like they're up maybe like 13 or 11. They went a little run, and then he calls a timeout, and then the Pacers immediately go on like an 11-0 run.
Right.
And I feel like that happened like twice where he kind of did that. The one was glaring to me. Has that been something he's kind of done like all year, like weird? To me, just the timing on some of these timeouts, I'm just like, I just don't understand it.
Nah, he's like a weird brand. I think last night was unusual. But, I mean, as Mazzulla as an overall coach, sorry. Yeah, clear my throat.
Well, he's not the best in the system.
I love Mazzulla. In what system? The
Celtics system.
He's a Stevens.
He's still not the best in the system.
Oh, I mean, do you want to hear it? I went around the office yesterday, and I said, what's the worst take you ever had? And I had a take that in 2018, if you had to pick one person in the league, would you rather have Giannis Antetokounmpo or Brad Stevens? You'd rather have Brad Stevens.
I mean,
and I liked it. I was like, if you asked the Spurs, would you have Greg Popovich or LeBron James in 2003? Like you'd say like, oh, obviously LeBron James. But LeBron left Cleveland 4 years later.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Pop stayed.
Honestly, the reason I like that take, dude, is because if you ask Bosco that, he 100% would agree.
No, it's like you could talk yourself.
I would take Brad.
And if Brad Stevens
he hung it up a little too early.
If Brad gets one as an exec, it's like, all right, he's still in the system. But
I hope Brad wins the one. That's it. He just gets him a title and he's out of there.
Yeah, I can see it. I can
put
see
him back
like
in
a Jerry
college.
West. Yeah.
Put him back in college.
Yeah.
Where he belongs. Sorry, what were you?
No,
what were you
I
saying
love
about
Mazzulla's
Mazzulla?
coaching style. His timeouts are sometimes infuriating, but like his whole thing, like people want to talk about like oh, the Celtics live and die by the three. One, it's not like college where living and dying by the three is like problematic because it's college shooters. Like NBA shooters, if you're shooting 40% every game, you're probably going to shoot 40%.
You shoot a lot. You shoot a lot of threes.
Yeah, you're probably going to make a lot of those games like 40%. So like I don't think 3-point shots are just like bad shots. I think sometimes they could fuck you like one singular game. Last night, the fact that we didn't shoot well and still won makes me hopeful. But yeah, the timeouts last night were pretty dumb.
Yeah, there was just the one glaring one I just didn't understand. But coaches make mistakes like that. It's not like I don't know.
He's getting better also, like, but he's getting better from, like, last year's playoffs. Like, some of the mistakes he was making, like, he got out-coached by Spoelstra, obviously. Like, and then once they went down 3-0, he kind of started, like, coming back, and I was like, oh, shit, Mazzulla really is putting on, like, clinic. Game 7 happens. The narrative is, like, is Mazzulla right for the job? You know, sports talk show chatter. But this year, I think not enough people are talking about him.
Ime. He just wasn't just slinging dick around.
Yeah, fucking.
My take
another
is
a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Not shit where you eat.
I'm such an Ime guy. I think he's such a good coach.
Yeah.
I just think he's that like hard nosed. Like Mazzulla to me is just like he's obviously on the younger side. He just doesn't have that like. It's not that there's no reason like respect him, but he just doesn't have that like command demand respect from his.
Yeah, but don't you agree that's the way the NBA is going? You don't like. I don't know. It's changing. The old guard.
But Ime had like Ime wasn't old.
Yeah, but
He just like he's not like he's like some like 60-year-old. Like he's like what was Ime in like his mid-late 40s probably.
Yeah.
And I know he just had a little more like that like toughness to him that Mazzulla just always kind of has this like weird look on his face.
It just feels like they're moving.
Maybe it's me like
they're
just
moving
kinda,
towards players, coaches. You know.
No, it's fair, and maybe it's me just like picking him apart too much, like just watching on TV and just being like, oh, he's got it's kind of just a weird look on his face in the huddle. I don't know, just something. I just like Ime. I thought Ime was a better fit for their team.
I think Mazzulla is a better coach.
Yeah.
I
think I don't like completely disagree with you. They are completely different styles. I think when Imi's the kind of guy that you're like, wow, that's a basketball coach. Like he's like exactly what you say, commanding a locker room. Mazzulla's a basketball nut. Like he eats, sleeps, breathes basketball.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. 'Cause even this is some high def analysis, folks. When I see Mazzulla, like I'm like, oh, he doesn't have a haircut. I'm like, which you can go both ways in that. You can be like he just looks like sloppy to me. Like his beard's all like, not like.
But he doesn't have the time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's a double-edged sort of like.
Film.
I want my guy sharp, but I'm like my guy just is so focused on basketball.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck that he needs a fade. His hair looks like shit.
That's actually a good strong like healthy debate. When you look at a college or you look at I think in the pros, I think you need to have the appearance. To a degree.
I just think because listen,
but in college, like if you had a like slob coach who looked like he was living out of his car, you'd be like, yeah, that guy's committed. He's more committed than the guy in the nice jumpsuit on his phone with the new kicks, the shiny hair. Like, the guy who's living in his car looks like he walked out of a fucking a made bed, an unmade bed. He looks like an unmade bed. He is probably more committed to finding you a fucking gem. He's driving up and down the turnpike, going into gyms, living on fast food. Like, which guy do you think is more? What would you rather have, the shiny hair or the slob?
So you think that's what Nate Oates' problem is?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
The hair is too
I'm just saying. I'm saying there's two schools. There's two schools of thinking. Like, you can look at that and a guy like Majerus. Majerus wasn't winning any fucking fashion contests, but he was committed. You know what I mean? His teams won. I don't know. There's two ways of looking at it.
College basketball, I feel like when you think college basketball coaches, you think like sharp dresser. Like,
yeah.
Think of a guy
maybe
like
I'm thinking
Calipari. You
more
think
high
of a guy
school.
like Jay Wright.
Yeah.
You think of guys like that who are like slick, hair looks good, sharp dresser, nice sport coat. Like even like a Roy Williams, like he's like even the hair's white, like always like you got nice suit on always, like kind of thing.
But I guess I'm going more like grassroots. If two guys show up into a gym and one guy was trying to look like that and the other guy looked like a slob, and you said gun to head, pick the better recruiter right now. Who do you pick? I think you're picking the guy who looks like a slob.
No. But see, recruiter. No. Recruiter is
maybe that's the way I was.
Is slick.
Yeah.
Coach is nut. I think that like recruiter, you want the guy coming in with the nice hair, nice jacket, $1 million handshake, $1 million smile.
But
You want Jay Wright or Nate Oates coming into your house?
Oates dresses nicer, but. I actually think
no. I'm not.
Pinstripe suits are outdated.
You can suck Nate Oates
Pinstripe suits are outdated.
I'm
Pinstripe
not
suits
gonna
are
let you come on
outdated.
this show and tell me that he is better dressed.
Pinstripe suits are outdated.
Jay Wright is about as well dressed as you can have.
The pinstripe suits are outdated.
I don't know if there's better.
Outdated. No, but I think that the slob guy could find a better recruit. You know what I mean? He might not be able to sign that guy, but he's finding those guys.
It's Adam Sandler and Hustle.
Yes.
He finds
that's
the guy,
exactly
he
the
finds
line.
the guy in Spain or wherever the fuck he was.
That's exactly the line. Like you got
out in the trenches.
Yeah, and like I've talked to guys who've recruited on low levels of Division III, and like some of the lines they say to each other are hilarious. They're like, "Oh, remember that McDougal kid? Oh, is that the kid we saw playing in a cafeteria?" Like, you got a 5-year recruiting at Division III. Some of these gyms, some of these schools, like, "Oh, was that the School of Sciences?" Like, where the names of the places? Like, you're just looking for gems. I've told this story all the time. The fucking Kevin Ollie comes down and looks at a 7-footer at a JUCO jamboree that they may or may not look at. Calhoun, when he gave him his scouting report, Calhoun probably was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And this guy's got to drive 2.5 hours down, 2.5 hours back to maybe look at a 7-footer. 3 years later, he's cutting down the nets. 3 years later after that, he's out of a job. That's fucking it's crazy to me. That whole thing is a fucking crazy loop. But yeah, I don't know. Coaches are interesting. We went down a rabbit hole that way.
Yeah. Someone just got into D3 recruiting.
We did, yeah. We
from Missoula not having a good haircut.
If it gets down D3 recruiting for just one more second, a guy like Greg Campy, the Oakland coach, I think fits the mold for like low level, like who you want for a low level coach.
Right.
His personality, the way he looks, like a little bit of sloppiness, but just like a touch of gray, like clearly uses just for men. I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it just like makes you like like exactly what we're saying, like makes you look like a basketball nut.
I don't know. People are always like, "Why are you so fascinated with coaches?" This and that. I just think the stories are very funny. Like Majerus, for sure. I read his book. Like Seth Davis, I think, was interviewing him, and he walked into his hotel room, and he's completely naked, and he's like, "Yeah, help yourself." Like, none of these guys, nobody cares. It's just they're interesting cats. All right. Anything parting thoughts on the Celtics? So now you've upgraded where I thought it was going 6. I still maybe I downgrade to 5, but you have downgraded to a sweep, or you thought it was
5 yesterday. What did I say?
I thought 5.
So you're standing pat at 5. You've downgraded from 5 to 4, and I've downgraded from 6 to 5.
I think the Pacers get at least 1. Yeah,
I do as well.
I'll say 5.
I do as well.
I think they're dead in the water.
Tonight
I was sweating a little bit last night. Not gonna lie.
Tonight.
Oh, you were. Oh, a little bit. You're not gonna lie. You were.
Well, no, I thought they could.
They were down 3.
I thought they would get. I thought the Celtics would lose game 1 and then win the next 4. But I was just like, oh, like Marty's just gonna be like, oh, you feeling confident about that tattoo? It's like, dude, I don't care. Again, like I'm not gonna chase out this tattoo, but if Marty gets someone to come in, like I'll do it.
What do you have to do to get it?
No, we were saying he has to get it, and my argument was that he gets to get it now get the Celtics 2024 champs tattoo, and we pay for it, and then but if they don't win it, then he has to pay us back.
Yeah.
See, the only
There's
thing
a very
with that-
easy fix
So it's
for
a
you,
double
by the
whammy. It's
way.
a double whammy if he has to. end
Very
up
easy
paying for it,
fix.
and it's a tattoo that it just you feel like an idiot when you get a champs tattoo if they don't win.
Don't say it. Underneath, you put Atlantic Division. Later on, you go get Atlantic
You can do that
Division.
in post if he wants.
Post.
It's-
Later on, you go get, and people be like, "Why'd you have an Atlantic?" Be like, "Hey, it was a tough race. I just loved that year."
I was thinking about just like doing like the 4, and then hopefully just closing it in with the 8, and then being like 2028.
2020. Yeah, you can make it 2029.
Yeah.
The 4, you could change. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a few things I feel like you could change.
Yeah.
But I would put Atlantic Division.
Or you could just say like if they win this series, just be
I'm not gonna lie, that would be
like
more embarrassing.
like Eastern Conference champs.
Atlantic Division.
Atlantic Division's really embarrassing.
I know,
It's
but
not even like
that's all
the
they've
NFL. Like,
won.
Having
it's
to
not-
explain it more.
if
Yeah.
there's no sport that winning a division means less than the NBA.
Basketball. Yeah.
Literally, no one gives a fuck.
I'm just
about
trying to help you out so you don't have a fake tattoo.
Atlantic Division champs.
No, it'd be
Even if you
such a
said,
more-
for example, like you said, like NFC East champs, it's like, I mean, if you tattoo out that on you, you're crazy. But
Yeah.
I mean, at least in the NFL, you
just
like
trying
care
to give
about
him
winning
a-
the division. It's like a big deal.
I'm trying to give him
No
a
one gives a
legit
fuck about
tattoo.
that in the
I'm just
NBA.
trying to give him a legit tattoo. Tonight, Minnesota minus 4.5 against Dallas. Total is 206.5. What are you feeling on this one?
I like the Mavs in game 1.
Really?
The points, yeah. It's enough where it's weird because I kind of had the same logic for the Celtics and it didn't really work. Like going like kind of betting on them, but I guess I guess I kind of am. I guess I kind of am doing the same thing where I'm taking like the road team, but obviously just different situation. The Mavs are the rest and they're the road team, but I saw a few stats that back. I also really like the over. I saw some like really good stats for the over where like a game.
I like the over as
A
well.
team that had to play a
I'm actually
game,
gonna take that.
even though the Timberwolves play good defense, obviously very good defense, elite defense, I would say.
104, 103 is not crazy.
No, not at all.
In the NBA.
I think the stat I saw was it was in game. Teams coming off having to play Game 7
It's 207.
at home.
207.
They, I believe, overs were one of the teams that had to play Game 7, and then now is like obviously Game 1 in the next series. The overs like 12-1 in those games.
Well, it just hit last night by a lot.
Yeah, there you
Pacers
go.
played Game 7.
Yeah, it was 12.
Gaz was talking about that. Gaz was like, "Why is this over not 250?" I think that's one of those you just keep taking the over in that series.
Actually, I'm pissed. I ended up
Well, it
taking it.
burns
I didn't
you.
give it out, but I took it like very late, like right before the game, because really a thing that I thought about too is kind of what pushed me over the edge to take it last night with the Pacers Celtics was in the regular season when they played, their totals were like in the 230s.
I'm on the over.
So basically, it was like their overs are in the 230s last night. Then last night it's in like it's 222
Right.
and a half, 223. I think it closed at. It's like, listen, obviously you're expecting defense to be a little tighter in the playoffs, but like a 10+ point difference is a lot. I mean that's when they throw around like the word value and gambling. To me, that's like value.
Yeah.
And I think in this game tonight, I really like where overs at 12-1. I think you're seeing a Timberwolves team who I think really the reason that trend is a thing is you're just gonna have some tired legs on defense at least. So I like the over, but I like the Mavs too. I really think the Mavs make this a series. Like we've talked, I think the Timberwolves win it ultimately, but I think it goes like 6-7. Like
I think this is a classic.
I think the Mavs give them a run. If I had to pick one, I say it goes 7. I think it's like a really, really good series.
Yeah, I think you can lay. This was the one, Dukes. What's the 5.5 in this?
Over
terms of
5.5 was
games?
minus like 1.
Yeah, I don't hate
60,
that.
I think.
I don't hate that at all. I know Clemmer's like, laying the juice. Like 160 is
That's one where I
it's a
do
small
like it.
money lot. Like if you were betting the side here and the Mavs were minus 165 on the money line, that's not that crazy. Like
No,
to say
and
that.
I just
Here, all right. If you like Minnesota tonight and you don't like the points, it's 185. That's a little bit juicier. But if it was 165, it's not. I wouldn't be like, oh, a juice box. Like
Well,
it's
and-
not
no,
that
and, I
crazy.
mean, you're
And
just-
I do think this is going 6 and 7.
You're
That's
bet-
ultimately what it is.
You're just betting both teams to win 2 games essentially.
Yeah,
Which I would really be surprised if it went 4-1 either way or a sweep.
it would
Sweep
shock
A
me.
sweep would shock me. 4-1, I'd be pretty damn surprised.
Right.
I just think they're both even teams because even looking back on the Mavs, I think this is a big thing no one's talked about either. Luka didn't even play that well. Like in terms
Well,
of
banged up a little bit, right?
for sure. It's not like a knock on him as a player. He's like a top 3, 4, 5 player in the NBA. I'm just saying the fact that they were able to beat the Thunder the way they did in 6 and their like star all world player was like not super efficient from the field, didn't shoot the three particularly well. And they their role players played awesome. And I think that's been the unsung hero of this Mavs team, because obviously you're Luka, Kyrie. But I mean the Derek Jones, PJ Washington playing out of his mind, Derek Lively giving great minutes, Gafford giving good minutes, like Josh Green. Because they've had some guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. barely even playing anymore. But they've had a bunch of guys in there who are playing really really well, playing good defense, stepping up. Derek Jones to me has been one of the X factors. Him and PJ Washington. Because Derek Jones is that next defender that I think they need to step up, and he really has. So they've had some good perimeter defense, and that's why I think they really can give. It wouldn't shock me if they won the series. I think they give them a run for their money. But yeah, I like the Mavs tonight a lot. I like the over. I'm on Mavs plus 4.5.
I'm gonna take the over with you. Yeah, I had nothing really with baseball. I'll take that. I'll take the over tonight.
I think we're due to get one hangover from the team that played in Game 7.
Okay.
It's just they just took down the defending champs, Game 7, on the road.
The whole world is talking about it.
The whole world is just sucking their dick. I mean, listen, Anthony Edwards is a dog. I love this team. But this Mavs team is just playing really, really fucking good right now. I mean, look who they've had to beat. I know the Clippers were a little banged up. Obviously Kawhi wasn't there a lot of the series, but to beat the Clippers, where James Harden had a good series, Paul George had some really good games, and then go beat the Thunder. This is they're really fucking good. This Mavs team can beat anybody, I think, when they're on. So yeah, I like them tonight. I think they steal one.
Yeah, I'll take that over.
And if they get even just one of two in Minnesota, I almost don't see how it doesn't go 7 after that. And I really think they're going to win one of these two games.
Does anything jump out in terms of props?
You're saying series props or tonight?
Series props tonight. You just have a feeling on a guy, maybe his total's 8.5, 9.5.
The guy that, to me, PJ Washington has really just been overachieving. To me, not even overachieving, just playing really well. His over points, he's had some big time games. He had a game he dropped 28. He's been shooting the three really well. Yeah, I like PJ Washington.
Okay.
PJ Washington over, I wouldn't mind. He's been
okay.
He's been him and Derek Jones have been the two X factors for them that have gotten them over the hump.
Okay. Unnecessary roughness is out.
It's
this
out.
Episode.
Yeah.
All right. So without, you could save some of your takes, but walk me through. You guys did the Big 12. We're getting the itch now. I'm seeing Phil Steele 19 days till the magazine goes to press. It's less than a month since it hits the newsstands. Late June is when you get it. We're here. We're gonna start seeing opening lines. We're gonna start seeing win totals. We got futures. I'm already excited about the playoff schedule. I've talked to you about this. I think it's one of the better schedules we've ever seen in terms of the way that they've laid it out.
The timing and all that.
The timing of it. And Marty always thinks it's nerdy, but it's awesome to me. You get one on the Friday night, you get 3 on the Saturday around Christmas to open it up.
Yep.
You go 1 on New Year's Eve for the quarters, you go 3 New Year's Day.
Perfect.
You go Thursday, Friday semis leading into wild card weekend in January, and then you go championship game Martin Luther King Day.
It is
perfect. Thursday, Friday, people are going to be like, oh, Thursday, Friday. You ain't going against the NFL.
Nope.
And you're leading in. It's perfect. So walk me through the Big 12. I was talking to Casey about it a little bit. She was like, this conference is trash because it's leftovers and it's new. It's spare parts and it's new teams and this and that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun is the best way. And maybe I'm a simp because I always think the Big 12 is a lot of fun, but I think you're going to have a great conference race. Now, do I think any of these teams can win a national title? Probably not, other than maybe Utah, who I forgot was in the Big 12, to be honest with you. That's going to be a problem, forgetting the standings.
It's all them in there, fucking Arizona.
I know, it's crazy.
Arizona State, Colorado.
Crazy.
And obviously, you just said all the new teams entered last year, UCF, Cincy, BYU.
So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think other than Utah, but I think you're going to have a 2 to 3 loss champion in this conference just because that's what they do and they beat each other up. But walk me through in terms of teams you're looking at. Does K-State maybe have a legit shot at a playoff?
Yeah, I do. I think
you got to remember, if you win this conference, you're in the playoff.
Yes,
you might not be a great seed. They're going to could hose you. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. Did they guarantee that the conference champions are the top 5 seeds?
No, I don't believe so.
Really?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I actually think I don't think it should be like that.
I actually think that's fair.
Because to me, it's not fair. I don't think it's fair. Say, for example, hypothetically Utah, and I love Utah. Say they're 9-3 and they win the Big 12. Like they shouldn't be the 4 seed.
I actually agree with that. I think you
Like,
win.
they should be whatever that like
you win
8,
the
9,
conference.
whatever you.
Well, put it this way: it's very much like March Madness. So if you win, NC State won the ACC. They were 16 and 12 or whatever they were, 19 and 12 or whatever. Like they're. I don't know their record offhand, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't great.
Glorified.
19, 14 short.
Whatever it was, it wasn't like phenomenal. They get an 11.
Yeah,
They don't get a top 4 seed.
Exactly.
Now there's 64 teams in that, but winning gets you in the dance. It doesn't get you a high seed. So I actually agree with that.
I think the biggest takeaway for I'd say Utah obviously should be the favorite, rightfully so. To me, the next team is Kansas State. I think if I were to pick a second team, obviously I think Oklahoma State should be really good. Like Gundy's obviously a great coach. Ollie Gordon's probably the best running back in the country, like coming back. They're just talented. Like I think Bowman, even like he's been in college for like 20 years, like solid quarterback. The thing that stood up to me when I was like going through kind of prepping for the show with the Big 12, sneaky, really, really good quarterback conference.
Well, they get this kid now from Arizona.
Fafita's like when you just off the top of my head, like you go off the list like Utah, Cam Rising, like stud.
Yes.
Kansas State, Avery Johnson, monster last year. Basically, why Ohio State got Will Howard because Will Howard left because Avery Johnson's.
It was difficult. Yeah, it was the difficult spot.
You have Fafita, who's like I think elite, was unbelievable last season. When they put him in, the team just changed. They were one of the best teams in the country.
Arizona, I took their win total under, and that kid is unbevable.
He came in and he
made it. I didn't know he was
instantly
so
came
named.
in and they became a top 10, 12
unbelievable
team in the country without question.
Unbelievable.
You have some of the transfers. You have DeQuan Finn going to Baylor, who was a stud at Toledo. Stud, probably the best player in the MAC. Maybe obviously like Mitchell.
They got him.
His teammate went in the first round, but like probably one of the best offensive players in the MAC. He's gonna be Baylor's starting quarterback. You have like Baron Morton from Texas Tech, who I think is very good. I just mentioned like Bowman for Oklahoma State. Donovan Smith for like Houston is like a solid player. I'm forgetting even someone too.
Who's UCF have?
It's a new kid because obviously John Reese Plumlee was
I loved him.
Was out.
Loved him.
Did they? Oh my God! Didn't they?
They got like a veteran.
No. What's his name? Arkansas's quarterback, big guy, Jefferson.
They got Jefferson.
I'm pretty sure he went to UCF.
Okay, that's a home run.
Let me double check.
Find that out. Who else is out there? BYU, Arizona State, right? Or did Arizona State get left in the dust?
Yeah, they got KJ Jefferson at UCF.
Did Arizona State get left in the dust?
They have that kid.
Arizona State's.
They have the
Arizona State's in the Big 12, right?
Oh no, Rashada went to Georgia. He transferred to Georgia.
Okay.
So they did lose him.
Arizona State's in the Big 12, though.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Who else am I forgetting too?
Did West Virginia get anybody?
Garrett Green, West Virginia. Like he's really good quarterback, like very solid quarterback. They're a team too. I think is Jalen Daniels from Kansas.
You didn't mention Kansas. I was just going to say that.
Like no, this is what I'm saying. Look at all they have some really fucking good quarterbacks in the Big 12. So if Jalen Daniels could stay healthy, they're a team too that I think could make a run.
I think you lose a lot of these COVID. Again, this is just speculation, but I think you lose a lot of these extra COVID years. The guys who've been there for 5 or 6 years now. I think the COVID years are done. Correct?
Pretty much.
Or it's almost like it's rare.
Yeah.
If you don't have experienced defenses, I could see this Big 12 being back to shootouts.
Because to me,
just shootouts galore.
Because Arizona's defense was good last year, and they lost the defensive coordinator, but they brought back a lot of the personnel. And they obviously, which I don't know how they did it, but they were able to keep Fafita and McMillan, who are both like studs. The kid McMillan from Arizona, legitimately like probably a first-round pick next year. I could see very possibly early's like top like couple rounds. Yeah, to me, it's like Utah, Arizona, and Kansas State are like the 3 teams that I think are like. I think that's going to be the top.
Kansas State is
Oklahoma State. I could see being there, but
Gundy's always in the mix. Kansas State is always in the mix. Always in the mix. I mean, they almost took down that division. Like they were right there last year.
So they won it. I think they won it with the TCU year.
18-1, the TCU year. Yeah, like they're.
Kleiman's a good coach, man.
He's an unbelievable coach.
Great coach.
And Avery Johnson, like that was as much as I loved Will Howard, and I want to hear your thoughts. Is he going to win that job?
Ohio State.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I do. I just don't see who. Like the Julian.
You're gonna like him, man.
No, I like him. Dude, no, I like him. I liked him. I feel like I've been the one defending him all offseason because everyone's kind of been. To me, a lot of the college football guys have been kind of trashing Ohio State. Where like, oh, like this is the guy, kind of like this is who you picked to say. But I think he's going to fit the offense better in the sense of the thing that McCord, I think I give him a lot of credit because I think he gets shit on a lot. He played hurt a lot of the year, but his game, in our offense we run, he's like I think we needed a guy with some legs. McCord, that wasn't his game.
Howard's got legs.
Howard can like really actually run legit, and I think he's going to take care of the ball. And I think we're going to with Chip Kelly's offense, we're going to run the shit out of the ball. We have two of the best running backs in the country, Henderson and Judkins. We are going to run the ball a ton.
Speed runs too.
Yes, absolutely.
Speed runs.
I think we have the guys like those two guys. I think will run it well. Like I think it fits what they do well. And I think that's what's gonna be like. I think and the defense is gonna be so elite. Our defense is gonna be so elite. Like Howard. Like if I don't think Howard's gonna need to throw the ball more than like 30 times. I don't think that at least it's gonna be the game plan.
Well, he didn't
not to do that.
Yeah, he
had
wasn't
some games like dude. He
can throw it and he has good games, but that fits his mold of what he was doing at Kansas State too.
Yes.
Kansas State wanted to establish the run. They have Giddens at running back.
Yes,
They had the kid before Vaughn, Deuce Vaughn. Like they want to run the ball. They want to run the ball.
He's going to run a lot of option. I think he's going to run it well. Like I think he's a veteran guy that like I think the kind of guy that's going to fit this team well. Like what we need, like just take care of the ball, like make some plays with your feet, make some throws when we need them. You're going to run the offense, be the guys. He's had a lot of starting experience. Because the problem with us, we have a lot of really young talent in the quarterback room. I just don't think like Devin Brown, from what I've seen, I just don't think he's it. Lincoln Keenholz is still like he's young. It's only like year 2 or 3, but he's even like. He had to play the bowl game when I just think he was ready. But we brought in like Aaron Nolan, we brought in Julian Sayin, who was like the number 1 quarterback, who was going to go to Bama, ends up coming to us after Saban leaves. He played in the spring game. He got like the second rep. So I think if anyone was going to take the job from Howard, it would be Julian Sayin. But it's a spring game, so you take it with a grain of salt. It's literally a kid coming out of high school, getting like playing against basically our guys that are going to start.
Yeah.
And didn't play awful, but didn't play great. Like had missed some throws. But I think it's like Howard. I'd be surprised if anyone but him took it.
Yeah, he's a winner. I think
they're probably prepping Sayin to be it next season.
Yeah, I think he's a winner. Did you look at odds? Is there anybody that like
we did more like it was more we just kind of did like a
covered the Big 12? Yeah, I know, but you
do like a preview. Like I think more in the summer we kind of just did like a first look kind of thing. Like who do you think can? Who do they like? We talked about was who do you think can like kind of rule it for the next 5 years? Like they went through other teams. Like yes or no, you think this team could potentially do it? And to me, like
sitting in a great spot.
the only teams that I thought really could were like Utah. To me is like the easy answer, was the obvious answer. I think Kansas State would be in there in that mix. Oklahoma State would be in that mix. I think sneaky West Virginia could be in that mix. Like they're a team like Casey, I think made a good point. Like they're one of those weird teams where even though they're not like a team when you think college football, you think West Virginia, but they've been a team that's like been close, like winning championships
a lot of times, a few times,
like a couple times over the last 20 years, and they're a team that they have like a good fan base. I think they make college football exciting. Like I think they're a team that even though they're not like one of these like premier programs, college football like I think is better when they are good.
Yeah.
Like I think they definitely add an element to that.
I put them in the equation of like Oklahoma State. Like I don't think Oklahoma State's a premier fan base. But they're a ton of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And I gravitate towards, I don't know why, but I gravitate towards a lot of these Big 12 teams. I just think they have fun fan bases. I think they care about it. I think they're a lot of fun. The conference is a lot of fun. Up and down. Like of all the ones you want to watch, yeah, do you get the most entertainment out of the SEC and you're going to see title contention every night in the SEC? Yeah, without a doubt. Every week you're getting a title shot. Every week. Yeah, which one do I want to watch? I don't know. The Big 12 is a lot of fun to me.
I think there'll be also Iowa State. Rocco Becht is another quarterback. I didn't say like him, like very solid. I think they're going to be good.
There's a lot of teams.
I think Iowa State was the team that I leaned more. Yes, like I think them. Like Matt Campbell's obviously had a lot of success there. Everyone thought he was going to be like NFL coach, was going to take like Michigan State or like one of these big Big Ten job or something because he has some Midwest ties. But they're a team that I could see doing it. Even like it was really the teams that I think are going to have consistent like coaching and like. Looking like even like a Kansas like with Leipold. I'm not saying they're gonna like run the Big 12, but I'm saying if they were a team like I think they'd be in the top half of teams that I think would have a better chance. Like maybe they're able to put together a couple like 9-10 win seasons and do something. I don't think that's out of the question for them. Arizona I think is like they're gonna be good like this year. I just don't know how good they're gonna be once like Fafita leaves. Like I just know they're in a weird financial situation. Some people are kind of commenting on the show because I brought that up on Say Roughness. Some people were saying they think that's a little overblown, like they're kind of like crying wolf. Who knows? Like just something I'd read about and heard about that they're going through bad financial strains. Just a university, Arizona.
Yeah. But the magazines are out there starting to roll in. Like, you can start to prepare a little bit by this. You're laying by the pool, like, take a look at a conference, or just decide you're just going to own one conference. You know what I mean? Be like, I'm going to own the MAC. I'm going to know everything. Whatever you want to know, I'm going to know about the MAC. So, appreciate that. Yeah, it's the way to describe the Big 12 is quarterbacks who are a lot of fun, I think, is the best way to put that.
It's gonna be chaotic. It's gonna be like, I think it's gonna be a lot of.
What do you if I was gonna put a prop out there that would say yes or no that the champion has over 2.5 losses, would you take yes or no?
I would say no.
Really?
I don't think Utah loses 3 games in conference.
Okay.
That's why I think Utah.
Could they lose 3 total? I'll just put it at total. 3 losses total.
I need to look who they're like out of conferences. Also, Utah's gonna be who. Let me see what they're. I would need to know what they're at.
They're not playing Florida. I know that deal is probably done.
Yeah, let me see who Utah's football schedule. So this year,
people could say that's not a real champion. Like, to me, that tells me that your conference was tough.
Oh, dude, quarterbacks in Big 12. I didn't even mention Shadur Sanders.
Fuck.
Dude. I'm just saying.
All right. Well,
that's how. But I'm saying that's how good this quarterback conference. Like, they're just.
It's also we're also a victim of we just got off of the Knicks. We're still in playoff basketball mode.
I said it on unnecessary.
Not fully prepping. You said it on unnecessary roughness.
They slipped on there for a second.
You forgot. Oh wait, there's also Oh no, never mind.
The guy who's probably going to be the first quarterback taking.
No. Yeah, but you get a little bit of a pass because Colorado is Pac-12. Forever, Colorado is Pac-12. So you forget a little bit about coming in.
They're out of conferences. Yeah, they're not going to win. This team, I'd be surprised if they lost 3 games. They're out of conferences. Southern Utah.
That's a win.
Utah State.
That's a win.
And that's it.
That's it? Because they play no.
That's what I'm seeing. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 12 regular season, yeah.
So they're playing 10 conference games?
Probably. There's so many teams now.
10?
Unless there's not one on this, like, on just like the Google schedule.
Try ESPN.
Unless I'm missing one. I don't see any like the.
I think they're playing 3 non-conference.
Let me see what we got. I mean, but regardless, I'll see who like that third one is.
I can't believe we forgot Colorado was moving in.
Yeah, unreal.
There's a lot of teams.
Let's see. So we got Utah.
Where was Dukes with that one? Chat wasn't eating us alive on that one.
On what?
We forgot Colorado was moving into the Big 12.
I wasn't reading the chat.
Well, I just forgot to say Shadur Sanders when I brought up how good their quarterbers were. But that just goes to show.
Does anybody read this chat?
No, because they added all these teams in
Bosco's a
conference.
fucking idiot. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Listen, if you forget Shador, it's
There's only 2 out of conference.
There's only 2 out of conference.
Because they have so many teams in these conferences.
Yeah,
now.
but I don't.
They play 10 conference games.
Really, I'm surprised by that.
Because their toughest games, I would say, just on paper right now, they have to go to Oklahoma State. Like, that'll be a tough game. They get Arizona at home. Still will be tough. They're just one. I mean, one of the
hardest.
Maybe the hardest.
What's the record? 31-4 or something like that.
They just lose one like last.
31-3. Yeah, 31-2 or something ridiculous.
They play they get Iowa State at home. Like, they don't. All the best teams that they don't.
All right. So
I think there's a way. I think they lose 1 or 2 games tops.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Because I think Cam Rising, I think, is a stud. I think him being the quarterback in his 12th year in college. I mean, that guy knows how to run an offense.
Yeah.
You saw, obviously, he didn't play last year. The year before, he takes over and they flip the switch. He's just a great leader.
They could run that conference. Go 11-1 and still get picked off in the Big 12 championship game. Because the conference is that tough. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Is the best way to describe it.
Well, because I think the biggest thing, I'm just looking at the schedule, they don't have to play Kansas State.
No.
They don't have
to play Kansas.
No Kansas.
They have to play Colorado.
Yes, but at Colorado. But to me,
Colorado's down a little bit.
To me, they're looking their chop because the one, that's one of the best teams in the trenches versus one of the worst.
Right.
Utah's defense is
they're just dogs.
One thing to sit your watch to is Whittingham just being just having them ready, them being tough at home, and their defense being good. You can set your watch to that.
Yeah, that's. So do you? your plan of attack this year, like I will give Marty credit. He's like, you guys in the 4-team playoff era. He's like, you guys were wasting your time. It's going to be Alabama. It's going to be Georgia. It's going to be the Big Ten, and it's going to be like maybe one outlier in terms of the playoff. Now that's out the window.
Yeah,
I think you can get teams running hot. Are you looking at potentially taking a team like Utah to win the national title?
No.
Okay.
Because
It's still going to be.
It's not to shut you.
I know. I think
It's going to be Alabama,
the Final
Georgia,
Four,
Big Ten team, and an outlier.
Yeah, the Final Four will still be like
you still.
the best Big East team. Or
You don't see a team like
best Big Ten team, best SEC team, maybe 2 of them, maybe 2 from the Big Ten. Then you have like one of these teams like like you said, like maybe Utah State, maybe Utah can make like the Final Four. But I just think like once they have to play like Georgia, Ohio State, Bama.
I almost think
the interesting thing in this format is like if you're, I don't know the exact seeding, so just bear with me, but say like Ole Miss is an 8 seed and they drop 1 or 2 and they have the talent, like it's one of those years they have the talent there, and they play number 1 Bama, and in like the quarterfinals or whenever it is, Ole Miss just beats them and then it just mucks the whole bracket up. So like that's a possibility that I could see, like where like you don't see a top 4 team winning, it's an SEC team playing another SEC team. It's not like the craziest thing to be like the number 9 team in the country beats the number 1 team in the country.
Right.
No, it's definitely not. And I think because to me the best thing about the playoff is that it like all those BCS bowls that just became opt-out bowls. Like no one's opting out of a playoff game.
Right.
Like,
No.
Like even if a team like say for example say like an Ole Miss team that has like 2 or 3 losses where they end up being like a 9 to a 9 to 11 seed kind of thing. Even if realistically you like the public thinks they have no shot, they're not going to sit out like a playoff.
No.
They're still going to show up and play.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong. The play-in games, the Friday night and then the 3 Saturday before Christmas, those are at home sites.
Home games, yes, they're home games.
It's gonna be.
Notre. I didn't realize I was kind of talking shit about Notre Dame, but they kind of like they played it a certain way where they basically agreed because obviously they don't play in a conference, so they'll never get a bye. Like they just like them like they will like if you're at a conference you will never get a bye. It's not happening. But they could if they're realistically like a top 4 seed, they'll always be number 5 and you just get extra home game in 7. So for them it's kind of like, oh fuck it, we'll do that.
What is this projected?
This is like kind of how like say not projected, but this is just say what it would look like hypothetically.
Yeah.
This was one. I don't know what year this was, but yeah, this is a hypothetical.
Now, what do you think about? Changing the format to a reseed like the NFL? So the 12 beats the 5. Why is the 12 getting to play the 4? I don't hate that you get a week.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I kind of like the bracket style.
I kind of like it as well because it reminds you, obviously, of the tournament, and you just play. Because I don't think they should ever people say that in the Final Four. Oh, they should have reseeded. UConn should have played NC State. No. If you're going to hold the bracket, we've been doing it forever. It always works itself out. UConn ended up winning anyway. Like, just play it out. Play out that bracket. I don't like reseeding in the NCAA tournament. We'll never want to do that.
The best team will win at the end.
Agreed. Don't want to do that. But with this, and you look at the system that the NFL does, I think this one I'm a little bit more inclined to lean reseed, than I am in college basketball.
I don't know. I just the way it's. I just kind of like I like the bracket style because I like knowing. Like I think they should deserve to know, especially in like football. They should.
We're playing the winner of this game.
To know, like we're playing the winner of this game, or like they're like if we win, like this is who we're playing. This is where we're going, like kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what?
I like it.
It probably helps.
12 teams. I like it kind of mapped out that way.
You know what? That probably helps attendance for fans as well.
Sure.
So like in the NFL, the Chiefs, when it moves around and the Bills pull the upset or the Jets pull the upset, it's like, okay, the Jets are now just going to Kansas City, and the Kansas City people already have their season tickets and they're going to watch the game. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the Jets people will be like, you know what, it's worth the trip, but that's in very small minority. Mm-hmm. This is the one where it's like, well, if we win against the 12, I already have the ticket planned. I know we're playing. So, yeah, I guess I'm back to keep the bracket the way it is.
Yeah, I just think
then here's the other problem. If you reseed after the first round, you have to reseed after the second round. into the Final Four.
Yeah, to me,
and then that's where it gets like that's hairy too.
To me, it's funny because obviously you bring up like all the teams that like where, for example, like NBA, they don't bracket. Like, because if that was the case, like the Knicks would have played the Cavs in the second round. So it's weird because I feel like there are arguments for it, but I feel like when I overall look at how it is with specifically college football, I feel like it makes sense to kind of just like follow. Basically, just you make the 12-team bracket at the beginning and you just follow that to the end. I think the way the style and just kind of the just the way the 12-team format is, I feel like it just makes sense to just
can't.
Like,
I just think the schedule is so fucking perfect. I can't wait.
It's beautiful. And I'm honestly that's probably part of it. Because when you're having like possibly you could play like 3 days apart, they need to kind of have it where like you're gonna get the proper, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would think that comes into play as well, where you don't end up in a spot where you said like there's like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday games where you don't play Saturday and then have to play.
Well, no, it's just Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, or maybe that seemed part of where it's like you play Friday, so you know like you play the next Friday or Saturday, whatever it is. You get the same amount of days instead of having to play like having to play Friday.
Well, the people on New Year's Eve,
Thursday.
the people on New Year's Eve will probably play Friday as well. They should get the extra day of rest. Yeah, I agree with it. But I can't wait for the schedule. I actually, when the schedule first came out, that they were like, we're going to go playoff games on New Year's Eve. This was like 10 years ago. Remember that? I kept being like, that's dumb. As it turns out, man, New Year's Eve is overrated. Put me on the couch with two of the biggest games going.
Well, it's funny because when it started, I was like early 20s, like late like 19, 20 years old. Like I'm still doing the damn thing. I'm like going crazy. Now turning 30 this year, I'm like, and now just doing this job.
There's nothing better.
Ohio State, I'm streaming. Ohio State's been in it a lot of times. Like I'm streaming. I'm doing things like. I'm not going out.
But there's nothing better than or if you do get dragged to a party, like, what are we going to do? All right, we're going to this one. We're going here. We're going. All right, at least they got a TV. Like, I'm good. I'm good to go right here in this spot.
I remember before I lived in Hoboken, did Hoboken for New Year's Eve. It was the year that we got smoked by Clemson, lost like 31-0. And that was one of those where we're watching like my boys, like his girlfriend at the time, we're like at her house in like Clifton for like a pregame, all that before like going over to Hoboken. For like an open bar thing. And that was when there's like, you know what, I'm almost like, if it was going to be this way, I'm glad it just was like this way where I could just be like, so I'm just like
check
devastated.
Out.
But
I do say that. I do think getting blown out is better than a heartbreaking loss.
It goes both ways. I think that it's almost better for like that night, but it's like embarrassing where like, I think the heartbreaking loss is more like, obviously it's more like devastating. Like you're more just like, because there's so much like woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like
agreed. One play, one bounce.
They're like, you go get beat 31-0. I'm like, listen, they were better than us. We play this game anytime, anywhere. Like they're beating us like 90% of the time. They're gonna beat us. So, I mean, that's when I always remember them. Just like, God, that was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like thinking, maybe they get a second chance in the second half. I'm like on the train. I'm like watching my phone on the train in the second half, and I'm like, fuck.
No, shut it off.
We just don't have it.
I think it was the second college football playoff, and I remember like being like, I don't know, a young buck, like New Year's Eve, barely paying attention because I'm just like I'm focusing on like drinking and like whatnot. And I remember I placed a bet or whatever on Michigan State earlier in the day.
Everybody liked Michigan. Everybody liked Michigan State that night.
Like,
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody liked Michigan State. I think I teased Michigan State that night to like 17, and they got just railroaded.
Yeah, and I just remember just being like, "Wait, what? Like they're down 38.
Besides,
they haven't scored a point."
Besides the one 2 years ago with Stroud when we missed the kick against Georgia, that I think we would have won the Natty. Obviously, we won that game. We beat TCU. That's the one as a fan that upsets me the most. That was when Ohio State could have repeated. They lost in a monsoon at Michigan State on a last-second field goal where Zeke had like 8 fucking carries or something. That Ohio State team could have won the national title. That one still that irks me. Those two, but that one irks me. Because then watching Michigan State get beat like that, I'm like, if we played, we ain't getting beat like that.
No.
We played Notre Dame and beat the shit out of them.
Out of that bowl, that when it bowl still mattered.
Got ejected for that was an early targeting.
I remember that.
And that was when targeting first became a real thing, and he basically just tackled a guy and his head just hit his chest.
I remember that.
Chest. That was also the Jalen Smith game.
Yeah.
I felt so bad. That guy lost $20 million in that game. But Yeah, that one still haunts me.
I remember that game.
Haunts me.
I'm still waiting for Iowa to win that national championship. I don't know why I loved them that year.
Oh man.
What
do you got for picks? I'm just taking the over in the basketball game.
Yeah, I love Mavs plus 4.5, over 206.5. And baseball, we got some day action. Who did I like today? I got Utah still for college football. I have this week I've really started getting like the itch for college football. Like it's starting to get almost June. It's like so close but so far. I like the over in Twins Nationals, over 8.5, and over in Mets Guardians.
7-6 last night.
Yep, those two in baseball. But Mavs I really like. Mavs plus 4.5 and Mavs Timberwolves over 206.5.
All right, that is Pick Central. We'll catch you tomorrow with Smitty's picks for Pick 6 Central in the competition. Take it easy.